Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Here we are from Group 8. We will present about spirituality analysis of the Birthmark story. And here we are, the group members. The first one is Deva Melania, and me, Tia Rahmi Yulianingsih. And then there is Aulia Putri Yulistia, and the last is Diana Putri. Okay. So today we are going to talk about the first one is theories of spirituality from many experts' perspective. The second one is analysis of spirituality aspect in the Birthmark story. And then the third one is the relation in social life. And then the last one is the evidence from the story. Okay, the first one, we will talk about theories of spirituality. Okay, so the first one, according to Joseph et al., 2017, spirituality should be understood as a more general, unstructured, personalized, and naturally occurring phenomenon where a person seeks closeness and or connectedness between him or herself and a higher power or purpose. Other authors also define spirituality in terms of search for universal truth and as an activity enabling people to discover meaning and significance in the surrounding world. This is quotation from Woods and Ironson 1999. And also, spirituality can also be perceived as a dynamic reality, constantly exploring something new, and it may also involve the learning of the ultimate boundaries of existence and seeking a broader meaning of life. Hart, 1994, defines spirituality as a way in which an individual experiences his or her faith in everyday life and style, in which the individual refers to the final condition of individual existence. The next slide, please. Okay, and spirituality is defined as experiencing transcendence through inner peace, harmony, or connectedness to the others. This is quotation from Boswell et al., 2006. And however, some theories state that spirituality differs from religion, as the latter is rather linked with specific rituals, institutional dependencies, and social relationship, whereas the former is more about personal experience of what is unseen and recognized as greater than ourselves. This is quotation from Tofar Murai, 2011. Then the next will be explained by my friend Aulia Putri.
Okay, Tia, thank you for the time. So I will continue the explanation about the theories of spirituality. And here we got Thoresen at 1998 claims that religion is perceived mainly as a social phenomenon, while spirituality is usually considered as the individual level and within a specific context. In contrast, according to Narayanasamy, 1998, 1993, spirituality is everything related to religion. Burkhardt also suggests that religion here acts as the platform to express spirituality. Thus, exploring the meaning of spirituality requires a broad perspective, especially exclusively related to religion. When discussing spirituality and religion, it will not be far from the relationship of the three meanings. First, self, and then the second is others, and the last is God. Marinson conveys the importance of the right relationship for spiritual well-being between these three key elements. And from this theory of spirituality, we know that some experts discuss and claim that spirituality is different from religion, while some experts agree that religion is same with spirituality. And the next part will be explained by my friends. Diana.
All right. Thank you, Aulia. So the next part is about the analysis of the birthmark's spirituality. So before we start to know about the identification that there is a spirituality in this story, we would like to give underline that the Hawthorne used the birthmark on Georgiana's cheek to represent the spiritual or non-material aspect of the man. Initially, when Hawthorne describes the birthmark, he views it as merely a physical defect. He refers it as being the visible mark of earthly imperfection. As Elimer continues to dwell on the imperfection, it begins to take on a deeper meaning. He begins to see it as the fatal flaw of humanity, which comes from the hand of the nature. Later, he sees it as the symbol of his wife's liability to sin, sorrow, decay, and death. So, the first analysis is in the beginning of the story, the author describes Lemur as the man who was obsessed in sciences and experiments. So we can underline it in this story about the spirituality of the birthmark. All of his obsessions mostly affect his social life. These lines above show that how he loves sciences, how he hires an assistant to treat his laboratory, and how careful and skilled he was when he did his experiments. It also shows that Elimer claimed himself as a person who can control nature and anything in this world by his knowledge, like a god. In this case, the author implicitly tells that nowadays we can find this kind of people who likes to self-proclaim he himself as the one who is better than anyone else. Whereas we know that no one could compare anything with God. This case might give negative impacts on our life, as specifically for our spirituality. The evidence from the Bergman story, there are several sentences. For example, in the latter part of the last century, there lived a man of science, an eminent proficient in every branch of natural philosophy, who not long before our story opens had made experience of spiritual affinity more attractive than any chemical one. And the second example, in those days when the comparatively recent discovery of electricity and other kindred mysteries of nature seems to open paths into the region of miracle. And then the next example, he had devoted himself, however, too unreservedly to scientific studies, ever to be weaned from them by any second patient. His love for his young wife might prove the stronger of the two, but it could only be by intertwining itself with his love of science and uniting the strength of the latter of to his own. The next slide. And the second analysis, in the end of the story, there was time when Georgiana sipped the potion, slept, and the birthmark was gone. However, as the birthmark was gone, Georgiana slowly comes to her time to death. This line maybe above show that a lemur tried to change the god's creature into something, and he was to believing that he was a god. Consequently, when he tried to remove his wife's birthmark, the wife was dead. Based on the spiritual aspect, we know that what Alimer did was wrong, since he was seeking for perfection, overconfident, and trying to change God's creature, which means that we know that there is no anything that can compare with God or can fight with the God creatures like that. And the evidence is she quaffed the liquid and returned the goblet to his hand. The second example, she spoke the last word with a gentle reduction as if it required almost more energy than she could command to pronounce the faint and lingering syllables. And then the next, by heaven, it this well night God. My poor Elimar, she repeated with a more than human tenderness. You have aimed lovely, you have done nobly. Do not repent that with so high and pure feeling. You have rejected the best the earth could offer. Elimar, this dearest Elimar, I'm dying. And the last example, the last evidence, as the last crimson tint of the birthmark, the soul taken of human imperfection, faded from her cheek, the parting birth of the now perfect woman, passed into atmosphere, and her soul, lingering a moment near her husband, looked its heavenward flight. Okay, the next slide will be explained by my friends.
Okay, thank you, Diana. After analyzing the value of spirituality in the birthmark story, if we relate it to everyday life, there are many examples that also occur in our surrounding environments. So, for the example, the first one, nowadays, many people feel that they have too much self confidence, so they believe that they can do and change everything that has been given. God has given to his servants according to their respective portion. So, as great as people are, I think no one is perfect. Perfection only belongs to God. And then for the second example, God forbids human to change anything that is in themselves, especially for physical. But nowadays, people are often ungrateful with their physical condition. They are willing to spend a lot of money to change it more and more. For example, filling their lips or nose, giving silicone in certain body parts, and changing skin color. Uh, as a grateful humans, we should be able to accept accept ourselves as we are, because every every person has their own beautiful, as I mean, they have their beautiful with their ways. And for the third example, most people have an obsession with something. Sometimes this obsession makes them forget about other things because they are too focused with their achievement, and anything in excess is not good. So we have to put things according to the priority scale, because obsession is okay, but we should be balanced with the positive things too. So yeah, I think with the end of our slide, meaning that our presentation is at that too. So thank you and see you in another opportunity. Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Thank
you.
you.